What is up, everybody? Dirt Sociable's back. We're here to hit up our Crandon, review. Little late for this, but a lot of things happen in life, and we'll get it in. We'll talk about Crandon. David's here.
Yeah, the Crandon cold is still being on recovery stages, even though we're, 2 weeks past now?
Getting there, yeah. I don't know if you can qualify it as Crandon cold anymore.
I'm going to classify it as.
You must have partied hard if you're still got the Crandon cold.
One morning I did.
Yeah, one morning. I guess we did almost see the sun come up that day.
Yeah.
Let's get close.
Yeah, I think that was a fun time. We had, that was the sportsman night to party.
Yeah.
And we took advantage of it.
Yes, we did. But our Crandon week at least kicked off for us on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Get up there on Wednesday. We participated in the golf outing, which was a blast. Got a sponsor hole, get out there, watch the golfers golf, and, had some fun top 3 greatest goats of all time. Had a lot of fun the hole, talking to people. A lot of fun, just raising some money for a good cause. And, yeah, watching some people absolutely biff the golf ball. Not saying I'd do any better, but it was entertaining.
Yeah, and we have that's one of the videos on our YouTube now, because been editing a bunch of content after the Crandon here, and that was one of them. It was the Crandon golf outing. You can watch all the drivers that didn't exactly hit it like pros.
I would have been right there with them. No judgment zone on that one. Yeah, that was a great time. We kicked that off. I at least partaked in some Crandon traditions and, get the little goatee mustache shave and get that with the handles going down. As you could tell, it's so long it started to grow back already.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
You must have sprinkled some Miracle Grow on that.
Oh, yeah, I did. Every day. Every morning, woke up and just rubbed some Miracle Grow in.
Nice. Yeah, mine takes forever to grow back, but I'm all right with that. I save on razors. Yeah,
right? Other than that, good time, a lot of good races. It was packed. The crowd was in full force. We got to see that a couple times, especially when the audio cut out during God Bless America. The fans finished that. That was cool. I'll continue to say it, though. Like, the racing at Crandon is fun from, a spectator point. Facility, though, it's cool. There's a lot going on. It's just not my facility. Oh, yeah, can't forget the parade. We had a lot of fun in the parade. I almost forgot about the parade.
Yeah, there's so much happening. It's hard to recap it all. But, if you think, it was golf outing, then it was the parade, and it was Sportsman's Day, a lot of good sportsman racing. It was a lot going on. Drone shows, fireworks, bands every single night.
Crandon goes all out, but still at the end of the day, if we're ranking facilities, we have one more to go.
Yeah, Glen Helen.
Crandon's pretty dang close to eating the bottom for me.
How was, just to bring up a sore subject, how was the weather in Crandon?
One day of rain. That's it.
So we are coming down to the wire, and one that is a very unpredictable one.
Nobody knows.
For a weather bet.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, have you been keeping track? I know you owe a burger to Jaden. What's the record over there? Have you been keeping track of your burger bets?
My burger to Jaden's the only one that I know I owe.
I think we have some coming down the wire and some I don't even remember anymore.
Yeah, we'll have to rewatch the tape, but
I think the only one I remember is the weather one at this point.
That's the one that counts.
Yeah. For all the marbles.
I don't think it can be a burger. We're gonna have to, because we'll have to figure it out in Cali. Maybe
I'm eating a burger in Cali.
Okay, maybe I was gonna say tacos, but
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Alrighty, should we talk racing?
Yeah, well, let's talk about a little bit of the racing. We'll break down. We obviously crowned points champions in the sportsman classes. The pros still got the last race in what we were just talking about, Glen Helen. So let's break down the sportsman and let's kick it off with your class. Let's go to the mod carts.
Yeah, mod carts. Biggest note I got is Wesley Vandervoort takes a win both days. gets himself a ring. How did points lay out? I don't believe he won the points, but I believe he was like third or second after all that.
Yeah, I don't know where he fell overall in the points. The point champion was Lincoln Modsager, won the point champion. I didn't go past the points champion because at the end of the season, that's all that matters.
Yeah, you're right. But he got a ring, and I thought that was worth noting. He's a kid that's going to be probably moving up through the ranks here within the next year or two. So one that we'll have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, that is super cool. And the ring race was Saturday.
Yes.
Yeah. So obviously, good year in the mod carts, and it was awesome for Wesley to sweep the weekend, get the ring in the process. Anytime you can pull off a ring, that is awesome. So just some of these we might not, stop on too much. Let's just hit some of the points champions. I feel we owe it to all the drivers to hit all the classes for points champions. So for 170 side-by-side, your points champion was Miles Packenham. The 200 side-by-side was Grayson Forsyth. And then the 570 side-by-side was Cody Krantz. And while I'm there too, he also took points championship and youth side-by-side. Short course kart was Gabe Holcher. Pro-Am side-by-side was Matthew Borschingerler. And then Pro-Am Turbo side-by-side was Rick Schroeder. And Sportsman side-by-side was Cody St. Peter. So that's the side-by-side rundown in the carts. That really covers that. We'll get into the buggies in a little bit. We'll have more conversation. But just covering those classes, is there any other topics you want to hit on them?
No, I guess on short course kart wise, Romaneski had a win on Thursday, and I think it's another kid that needs a highlight that is going to be moving up into the ranks. I believe he's going to a light buggy next year. So it's always nice to watch the kids that are moving up into the different classes and how they progress. And, something we always talk about when we have guests on is what's the best way a kid routes through the classes. And I guess watching these live as they play out is interesting to me.
Yeah, I think now that you bring that up, that's going to be one of the cool things to look at throughout the years on the podcast is, upcoming years. We can maybe follow some of the younger drivers going through the ranks and follow their paths. Are they going to go kid kart, or I should say short course kart to mod kart, or are they going to go short course kart to side-by-side? Like, just start watching some of the paths the kids take and follow them up throughout the years until they get into the pro ranks. It'd be pretty cool just to see the progression and see, we ask that question so much, to start seeing that in practice, what route are kids taking and, what path they're going. And I don't know. That's just interesting for me.
Yeah, absolutely interesting for me too. Another one that I think mentioned for largest improvement, Levi Gum gets a 5th and a 7th. And did you say points-wise he was 7th as well?
Yep.
Yeah, so I think considering how his years and how his season's gone, that I think that's a worthy noting of somebody that largely improved. Looking forward to seeing how that plays out for more career opportunities and racing for him. Hopefully continues moving up ranks as well.
Yeah. That's, a heck of a weekend to put together, 5 and 7. And like you said, definitely throughout the years see progression there. So, hopefully that continues, and that's very cool to see.
Awesome. Do you want to talk buggy stuff before we get into Pro-Am stuff, or?
Yeah, right before we get to the buggy stuff, though, I just wanted to hit the points champions in the stock trucks.
Yeah.
So the points in the stock truck was Brian Piot, and then the super stock truck was Nick Bing. The only thing I wanted to note was in the stock truck on Friday, we got to see, if anybody follows Circle Track Racing, Benji Lacrosse got to run
into a wall.
Yeah, into a wall. I was hesitating. It's super stock he ran.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it was super stock, yeah.
Yeah, super stock. Either way. He ran it. He got it up on the bike and got into the wall. So Obviously, off-road racing a little bit different than circle track, but anytime you put up in the bike is never a good thing.
Yeah, but I think that testing probably was a limit, and it'd be cool to see more crossover like that, and somebody that actually gets to do some testing and practicing, get familiar with the vehicle, not just tossed in it and let's run around the field track for a couple.
And not only that, the right-hander right by the start or the finish line, that's a heck of a, you see so many people bike there.
Yeah, she's got some edge to it.
Yep, definitely. The other thing I was going to shout out with Nick Bing winning the points champion, we'll talk about it when we get to buggies, but orange seemed like the fast color this year.
You're just saying that because your orange is your cables and all that stuff.
Don't tell the secret, but yes, orange is fast color.
Well, green, you need green in order to go.
I guess, but once the green flag's dropped, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But, all right, let's get into some buggy talk. So, the 1600 light buggy champion, Greg Stengel, the veteran of the class, putting it together, and yeah, that's pretty cool to see. I mean, we'll see where it goes from here. I mean, I think it's always been in the rumor mill. Obviously, nothing confirmed or this is all speculation, but it's always been in the rumor mill. At some point, he was going to retire from buggy racing. Will he go out on top? Will be interesting to see.
If I'm Greg Stengel and it's even a realm of an idea in the next 3 years, yeah, I think I would hang her up on top. And I mean, this isn't his first championship, but
no, I forgot what it is.
It seems like
8 or 9. I think it was. Maybe I heard. I don't have that stat in front of me, but I know it's multiple.
Yeah, it just seems like a good time to. And it's not like he's going anywhere. He's heavily involved in transmissions and engines and all buggy things.
Yeah, definitely. But Friday for the light buggies, Connor Schultz was up top. Evan Hawkers took second, and Aiden Wandasega in third. So that was the top 3 there. And then you flip to Saturday's races for the ring. Connor Schultz gets the ring. Greg Stengel second. Dylan Roloff third. That race, we did see, now we can say, former guest of the podcast, Evan Hawkers, hit the wall pretty hard. Hit the blue wall, got the ambulance visit.
He got a ring. A ring on his belt.
Yeah, his bell was wrong. Yeah. Obviously, he was walking around and he was good after that. But, yeah, always tough to see, especially, I always say this, like, the more and more we get to know people and they come on the podcast and the more invested you are in people racing, when things like that happen, you get like, holy crap, hopefully they're okay. Like, obviously you think that anyways, but the more you know people, like, I just feel I'm so much more invested in a lot of people racing now.
Oh, my advice to anybody that goes to a race, bring a couple quarters, dollars, pennies, cheeseburgers, whatever you want to bet, but every single race, even if you don't know the racers, just pick a number, and it's going to make you totally love racing in a different aspect because you just get invested, and you're wanting that person to win no matter.
Pick the orange vehicle.
Pick the orange one, yeah. Chances are good on the orange.
Yeah, this year at least. Yeah, so other than that, I know Steve Hawkers, who is part of the Hot Pit Slots that we had on recently, his goal was to get into the top 10. Fortunately for Steve, didn't break into the top 10. He had a chance, I think, on Friday. I think he was up there, and he just slipped away on him. And I think he just finished, if I remember correctly, 11th. So he was super close to cracking in that top 10.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting. I'm sure we'll follow up with him throughout the off season, but it'll be interesting to see if maybe he continues buggy opportunities, whether it's with that same buggy or, I think I heard some rumblings of Matt Gerald's old light buggy that's up for sale, possibly becoming a project of his. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see. Obviously it's the off season for the Hot Pit Slots as well. See what they do. I think it was up to 20 teams. I forgot what they said now. It's good slip, but we'll see what they do, what they come up with. They're always brewing up something in the off season, so I'm excited to see what they do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then let's jump to single buggy. The points champion went to Michael Seefeld. On Friday, 1, 2, 3 was Connor Schultz, Travis Trelstead, and Colin Schultz. So 2 Schultz up on the box.
Yeah, I believe that was a race that he had broken suspension. And it was like really rough driving. But on the podium, I think he even said it wasn't as rough as what it looked. It was like driving a light buggy that went faster.
That's funny. Saturday was Colin Bayer, Travis Trelstead, and John Fitzgerald. So Colin gets the ring. And yeah, it's kind of funny. One day you go, double Schultz, and the next day you don't see a Schultz for, I'm trying to look. 18th and 19th. They finished back to back towards the bottom. And the other person, we always kind of look at is also Ben Alcox. They had a 9th on Friday, and then Saturday he had a 6th. So pretty solid run for Ben, and that's pretty awesome. If you notice the studio, when we pan the whole, or you see Alex view, you get to see part of the Alcox vehicle there as well.
Yeah, and there, it's right there. Yeah, that's there because it's no longer going to fit the vehicle. So he literally took the saying as the day after Crandon Championship weekend, the next season starts. Yep. So he literally cut the top off the car, and that thing's going in for surgery and a little plastic surgery, or whatever, reconstruction surgery. So
yeah, I saw that post. It was 2026 seasons here, and like you said, topped it, and we'll see what they come up with. All I gotta say is, better have a wing, and it better be twice the size.
Yeah, I think you might be surprised what comes out of that garage.
Well, I'm assuming if the wing's twice the size, there might be an uproar, because even the small wing was causing a little conversation.
Yeah, everybody was jealous how good it looked.
Yeah, I'm telling you, best looking buggy in the class.
Yeah.
All right. Now that we kind of ran down all the sportsmen, anything you want to say about sportsman racing that we missed?
No, I'm just looking forward to, I guess, the next sportsman thing that we kind of do is the banquet that's coming up.
January.
January.
We have rooms this year.
We booked our rooms.
We think we did.
Well, we're pretty sure we did. We booked them the night that was the banquet last year. We weren't going to go without one.
Yeah, 2 years in a row with no rooms would have stunk.
Yeah, I know. That's always a good time. We'll definitely get involved again with some bucket raffle stuff. I'm sure you're going to win the Bark River bucket raffle once again.
Third year in a row. Bark River's biggest fan.
Yeah. And we'll get involved with that. So any other companies and teams that have been hesitant about the banquet, get involved, because it's a good time.
Yeah, banquet's always a fun time. I mean, if you want to go and get a crack at some bucket raffles, that's the place to do it. There's tons of bucket raffles. Just don't put in the Bark River bucket, please, because I want to win.
Yeah. I heard rumors that they're going to try to schedule it so that pros can go, because typically it lands on KOH. And a lot of the pro teams go to KOH, especially UTV guys. So hopefully that comes true, and then we can see some pro guys there, because we always acknowledge them as well there. They're always acknowledged in the slides.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's jump into the pro classes. So
Pro-Am-ish class?
Oh, pro buggy.
Okay, yeah, we can pro buggy first.
Yeah, I mean, we already talked pro-am.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we covered all pro-am. I got the points champion. It's and everything in there.
All right, I was going to say pro-am. We had a special guest.
Fill us in.
Dylan Parsons filled in.
Oh, yeah.
And he won.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. He did.
Yeah.
See, I'm telling you, Crandon is a blur at this point.
Yeah. How do you feel about pro level drivers being able to go into a pro-am or even sportsman.
They got to clarify that rule. So I feel like a one-off emergency situation, why not, right? Like, guy goes out there, races. I don't know. It's so tough. I mean, it'd be different if it was like, I guess, like CJ Greaves.
Well, if you're pro spec or pro buggy, you can also race sportsman and another pro-am class. If you're pro light, pro 2, pro 4,
You can't.
you cannot.
Yeah. But I'm just, that was kind of like saying if it was like a CJ Greaves dropping down, like that'd be crazy. I mean, as a competitor, it'd be awesome to get a measuring stick of where you are against those guys. I mean, as a competitor, that's probably like the competitor news, like you at least have opportunity, right?
Pull out the yardstick.
I'm just saying, like,
No, I get what you're saying.
you at least like, okay, this guy races pros,
Yeah,
and can I compete? Can I stay with them? Like, gives you that measure. But at the same time, like, if you're in the pro ranks, I don't like it because you get to look at the track. Whether the track conditions change or not, of course they're going to change, but you get to look at the track that your other competitors don't get. So I don't love that aspect of it.
Yeah, I was talking with somebody about this earlier this week or maybe last week, and they said, I want to race against the best. So, it doesn't matter what class I'm in, I want to race against the best. I get that aspect, but also if you're in the sportsman class and the top 1 or 2, maybe 3 are like seconds ahead, it's like almost absorbing those 1st and 2 spots, and that purse money is probably pretty minimal to a pro guy, but it's probably pretty significant to a sportsman guy.
Not only that, too, like, if it is a points race, it definitely impacts the points.
Yeah. And obviously this conversation stemmed off of Dylan Parsons filling in. I don't think that was, we're not saying that CJ Greaves came into it. It was a pro-am
Yeah.
and pro spec, which are very close on like levels, I believe. It's not that far of a fetch.
I
It's
did
not a Pro
hear
4 guy.
rumblings, though, that it might even change.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it just is a complicated. I think it also makes pro spec more legitimate. Like, hey, now you are a pro driver. You need to stick all your budget into this and then not also worry about a stock truck or worry about a...
There's not too many guys that go back and forth. There's only a few.
Yeah, there is. And obviously that needs to be clarified, sooner than later, because I think there's a couple teams that obviously build their program around that potential. But yeah, I think a more legitimate size the pro spec class, and I think it will give the opportunity for the sportsman guys to compete on their sportsman level and grow together, because we always see generational growth. Like, everybody keeps on moving up, and typically you see one guy might move up to the next class, and then 2 years later that guy moves up. That was a good competitor in the past class, and they all kind of move together, and it kind of just sifts out, and then we get a bunch of Pro 2 and Pro 4 drivers.
Yeah, hopefully. That's the goal.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see how that all pans out. I mean, once you get to the Pro 2, Pro 4 ranks, you're talking a whole nother budget.
Well, I mean, it was pretty satisfying to see the car count that we had for Crandon. I mean, for Pro 2 and Pro 4, that was more than we're used to. It's a step in the right direction. Yeah,
definitely. Let's flip back to Pro Buggy and discuss that real quick here. Get the buggy talk out of the way. Shannon Minder takes the win on Saturday, followed by Tony Keepers, and then Zachary Drapkin tops out the top 3. Just a side note here, I can freely talk about this and not cost him a track burger this time. Unfortunately for Jaden Lemke, the absolute nightmare of the 2 years continued and loses transmission, and doesn't get to compete in this weekend, and just the the unlucky bug that they've had the last 2 seasons strikes again. And obviously, hopefully they figure something out in the offseason and what path. Definitely hoping that we get to see, Jaden out there, is because I felt when they got the opportunity to race this season, they were starting to figure out stuff and be fast. So hopefully they get a season next year, and hopefully, all those dang bugs that got them all season this year kind of shake out, and they get at least, good season in without too many issues.
Yeah, I mean, if we have the same schedule that we had this year, I think that's a team that could benefit from doing a partial season. Hit the big milestone tracks. Hit the Bark River, hit the Crandon, Lena, yeah, it's tough for the pro classes, but hit the big milestone classes or the milestone tracks and get that thing dialed in. Spend the big travel and all the entry fees for all the other races on getting that thing right and sorted out. Obviously they've spent plenty of resources on it, but not saying they haven't. So, but just kind of focusing on, hey, now we have 3 weeks to prep instead of, a week and a half.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully in the off season, whatever, they get a path going and they make that decision. But I agree, they got to figure out something, and maybe that will be the good luck charm for a year to do that, and then figure it all out, get fast, and then come back the following year full schedule.
Taking from another podcast we had with the pit sluts on, maybe they just got to have a shop night. They all got to sit down on their chairs. Steve pops out a case. And
of
they
their
just
THC drink?
Yeah, they figure it out. But,
you never know. Maybe that might be the key. And kind of speaking in the same way, we got to see a guy that didn't race so much this year come back to the class, and Lorenzo Bonacci. He was running out. He was fast. Fortunately, he had some bad luck on Saturday, finished 11th, and then Sunday he finished 6th. So it was cool to see Lorenzo Bonacci out there. His dad's fun to hang out with.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I've ever seen Lorenzo himself, but his dad is a good time.
Yeah, great character.
Yeah, those guys are good. I mean, for speaking of off-road and what we stand for and how we always help out our competitor, we've said it before, those guys have helped out the Lemkes. I'm sure they helped out other teams many other times. And that, man, they had some struggles trying to get here to Crandon. I think they had their van break down, and then something else with one of their hauling situations. So those guys don't give up. They came through and they're great for the sport and a fun time.
Yeah, definitely. And then on Sunday, Matthew Brister won. Cole Bernlohr was second, and Chandon Minder was third. Side-by-side and pro side-by-side conversation. I mean, I don't think much has really changed in the way of the pro stock. On Saturday, Owen Van Epperen took first, David Gaith second, Jeb Boodle third, and then on Sunday, maybe. Anyways.
Loading screen.
Yeah, loading screen. I'm in trouble. While that's loading, I think the other thing here was also CJ Greaves had, in pro stock didn't have a great weekend because on Sunday, Owen Van Epperen first, Colton Krajcek second, and Colin Kearns third. And CJ just had a rough week all, on most classes.
Not to jump ahead, but it was a tough weekend for the Greaves.
Yeah, I don't even think he ran the pro stock side by side on Sunday.
On the afternoon, they couldn't. They had problems with the truck, and they had problems with the UTV. And from my understanding, they had to split efforts and decide which one they were going to put the efforts towards.
And it was a truck.
It was a truck. I mean, the UTV class, I think if you look at the points, is
Yeah, it was pretty much done. I think it's Owen Van Eperen had it wrapped up. He swept the weekend, and CJ finished the one day he ran at 18th. So uncharacteristic. CJ had a very uncharacteristic Crandon.
Yeah, turn one got him on one of the UTVs, and then on the jumps in front of the grandstands, I believe he blew out one of the lateral arms, buckled, and it just all that force. He's driving hard.
Yeah,
it's just very uncharacteristic is the best way you can describe it.
Yeah, I mean, and he's had some bad luck in the side-by-sides.
He's had struggles. Yeah, a lot of struggles to come over. But challenges, struggles, you got to go through that in order to make a really good race car.
Yeah, definitely. Going back to other people on our podcast, the Marquardt brothers finished 6th and 7th. So Dylan was 6th, Tyson was 7th on Saturday. I think when we had them on, they said they always seem to find each other on the race course, and I'm like, now that I'm looking at the results, I see that all the time. They're like back-to-back finish it. Like those cars are just like find each other and they stay in line.
Well, I'm sure they have that telekinesis brother connection.
Must be, because Sunday, Tyson was 6th and Dylan was 8th. So not that far off from where they finished the day before.
His long distance telekinesis.
Yeah. So flipping to the pro side-by-side and looking at Saturday, it's kind of the Owen Van Eperen show. On Saturday, Owen Van Eperen, Jeb Boodle, Rodney Van Eperen. The top three, finishing 4th was Ronnie Anderson, who we've also got an interview at the track with. So that is kind of cool. And then if we're looking on Sunday's result, it was Owen Van Eperen again, Rodney Van Eperen, and Jeb Boodle, and then Ronnie Anderson again in 4th. So the top 4 were all the same, except for on Sunday, Jeb Boodle and Rodney flipped spots. And man, Owen Van Eperen had those side-by-sides on rails in Crandon, sweeping both side-by-side classes.
Yeah, and when somebody's dominating like that, I think we went through this same kind of cycle in years past for a few years where it was like the Johnny and CJ show, how it almost got slightly dismissed because it was like you could blindly put $1,000 bet on one of them and you're going to win. But, I still think it's a great thing that Owen, his level of dominance throughout the year. I mean, the team is on point for having minimal failures because that's a key factor. They have that thing dialed in.
R&D was on point.
Every single race weekend, you got to give the credit where credit is deserved.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just think that's noteworthy to say is that, a great job from all the Van Eperens. Because you see Old Man Rod, it's odd to call him Old Man Rod, but he's the old man when you got your son out there cooking. So
I'm just telling you, they have those things on rails, and the R&D they've put into those things is, they did a good job. And like you said, the prep on them, the ability to keep them on the track was just clutch all year for both of them. You go through, there's some bad finishes throughout the year, but for the most part, they're top 3, top 4 every race.
Yeah. I think ERX was one of they had some sort of failure. I can't rattle my brain to say what it was, but I think ERX was one of the ones that it was he got almost damn near a 0. And then, but either way, congratulations to them for running a successful season up to this point in both classes. So, Glen Helen, we're excited to see how it wraps up.
Yep, definitely. Flipping into the pro spec space, on Saturday, we had Wyatt Miller taking the top of the box. Second was Ronald Kazizak. And then third was VDE. And then on Sunday, we were looking at Wyatt Miller up on the top of the box again with Nick Visser and Dylan Parsons in third. So it was, good weekend for Wyatt, getting up on the box both days and, really showing that he has a lot of speed there. With Wyatt Miller, getting up on the box, and VDE actually took last place on Sunday. That definitely, when we get into the points conversation later, but right before Glen Helen, that shakes up the points a little bit with Miller being, sweeping the weekend.
Yeah, there was some contact that happened between, I believe,
A little bit.
yeah, I think there was a couple involved, but mainly Dylan VDE got bumped around, and then they went into gravel pit, and I think VDE lost a tie rod or something of the sort. But basically, VDE was on the inside, went to go pitch it in, and the steering wasn't there, and then Dylan was stuck right with him, and they go over the berm side, and then Dylan, gets they weren't really stuck, but he was like the barrier that he had to get around, and he gets around him. And then that's when Dylan gets back up to third, One of the notes I got to say is that it seems like Dylan's kind of getting into a stride. Like that first race.
Fourth, I believe it was.
The fourth race. Yeah, but the fourth that he got, he was actually up front for quite a bit of that race. So I think that truck and him are finally getting back into sync.
It did look sharp for Sunday.
I think Glen Helen is going to be a good benchmark to see what they're going to be as a team, as a driver, as a truck for 2026. Because I'm sure, I don't want to speak, I don't have confirm of it, but I'm sure he's 2026 going to be a pro spec driver as well.
Yeah, probably. Obviously, there's one race weekend left, so let's leave that conversation. I was going to talk about Wyatt Miller in future there, but let's leave that.
No, I got that bullet point too.
Do you? Okay.
So
I didn't want to speak before the end of the race season on that, but we can go down that path. So Wyatt Miller will be back in 2026. I am venturing off to say Wyatt Miller will be in a Pro 2.
I was going to say he took home two bags this Crandon weekend, which is a pretty big success. So yeah, I don't know where it's going to lead him to, but I think it's awesome that the off road is still in his agenda.
Yeah, I'm speculating Pro 2, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
sheer guess.
Maybe you got to catch him at Glen Helen.
Yeah,
find
maybe
out the truth.
Maybe we'll put that down in our list.
Yeah, get it right from the
source, right from the source.
14, get it right from the 14-year-old.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right, let's flip to Pro Light. In Pro Light, we had Johnny Holcher, Matt Wood, and Michael Funk rounding out the top three. On this one, I just want to say it was awesome to see Michael Funk getting up on the box after the tough tumble he went on earlier the year. They had to get a new truck ready. Figured it out. Had a lot of speed, so that was cool to see Funk up on the box. And Sunday too, he finished third, so he put it on the box both days. And then Connor Berry and Johnny Holcher rounded out the top three on Sunday. So it was really cool. Like I said, I think that was the standout for me was Michael Funk getting the truck figured out, getting it back out there, and getting all the things dialed in and getting 2 podiums.
I'm interested to see how Glen Helen pans out for those two, because Johnny Holter has raced there previously in mod kart days, and Connor Berry, I believe, has been there in other aspects. So it'll be interesting to see how that's going to pan out for their competitive levelness against each other at that time.
Yeah.
A kind of new track. You might as well call it a new track because, it's altered back to a different state. I believe that none of them have driven on. And then also it's been so long, and they brought in new dirt content from my understanding as well. We would probably call it gravel content, but so it feels like it's going to be a new glove for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. So now that we captured Pro Light here, I want to circle back. Wasn't 100% done with the buggy talk. So there was a pro light versus pro buggy. Of course, the buggies dominate. The timing was off. It was unfortunately the buggies go 1, 2, 3, 4. Michael Meister wins it all in that challenge. Cole Bernlord second, Billy Booth third, and then Zachary Drapkin fourth. The first pro light was Connor Berry in fifth. He was 41 seconds off of the lead. That is a mistiming.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a challenging situation for. Next time maybe they'll call us, and you can give them the timing.
No, it's tough. Like you look at the track they got and how the track's set up. Instantly, first lap rips off. Anybody that knows track conditions, knows buggies, goes, okay, perfect track for a pro buggy. It's set up perfectly for the buggies. I mean, their best time was 125.542 by Michael Meister. Connor Berry's best time was 125.132. So they were running almost the exact same times, best times is, the pro lights. So
I remember we were sitting in the grandstands watching it, and me and you both were watching. They were going through the Walker Arch, and the other one was coming out on turn 1, and we're trying to watch to see if anybody starts gaining, and it was like
very rare.
Same.
Yeah, and I think there's like one lap the trucks gained, and then the next lap they came around and it was back to almost same spot. Like, unfortunately, the timing wasn't right. The track set up perfectly for the buggies, and it just made it a buggy race. They were pretty spread out too. Michael Meister had almost a 7-second lead over Cole Bernlaw, and then Billy Booth was 19 seconds behind. So even the top 3 buggies were spread out. It's still cool. Like, to start that race, I believe it was in that race where on the first start that one of the buggies took a heck of a roll.
Yeah, I think there was some accidentage. I don't think it accounted to what's happened in the past, but
no, it was not the. That was kind of one thing. The pro lights never had a chance. I mean, they did pass some of the buggies. It was some moments you're sitting up there in the stands and you're just like, as a buggy, that buggy driver's probably holding out like, don't touch my wheel. Don't touch my wheel.
As I recall that race too, this isn't pointed towards one class or the other. It was equal on both sides. But I think there was a few countable drivers on both sides that were using it as practice. And, if you got 2-3 buggies that are using it as practice and they're a half a lap off the leaders of the buggies and the pro lights come through, that's also another equation. Traffic, trying to get around. Also,
the buggies are pretty wide.
The history, nobody wants to try to wreck 2 vehicles again.
Yep.
So, I think, I don't know how you work that out, but maybe you got to have it so that there's like, you have to almost qualify for it. You have to be like within the time frame on your qualifying laps or the laps that they're basing it off of. I don't know how that works. Maybe that's future talk, but if you look back on it, I think there was like 2 or 3 vehicles from each class that were just like completely off pace.
Yeah, and they're tough. I mean, buggies are wide, and like you said, trucks were trying not to hit their wheels because we've seen what happens in the past. So they were slowly trying to navigate and not push them out of the way. A couple times they had to push them out of the way. And quite frankly, at one point in that, the leader, Michael Meister, was catching up to some of the pro lights and going down into one of the corners. He just gave him the absolute bit. Like, normally you just bump somebody to let them know you're there. He rammed into the back of that pro light like, I'm here, get the heck out of my way.
Yeah, if you're the leader of the buggies and you're catching the class that's supposed to be chasing you, then I can't blame it on the buggy being too fast. I got to blame it on the truck being too slow.
Yeah, it wasn't even a light tap. It was like, wham! I'm like, okay, he's there. It was pretty cool. Yeah, so that was kind of one of the unique challenges. We'll talk about the other one at the end, but let's flip into the big trucks. So let's go to some Pro 2.
Awesome. Yeah, Pro 2.
Yeah, Saturday, you were looking at 16 Pro 2s took the flag.
Yeah, good solid class.
Yeah, it was cool to see, and the top of the box was Keegan Kincaid. Kyle Greaves took second, and then third was Jacob Rosales. And man, Rosales putting together a very good late season and starting to figure it out and get that thing together. And their team's working hard and starting to get that truck dialed in. And you could tell he's starting to figure it out, put it together, and I think that's multiple weeks in a row up on the box.
Yeah, he's definitely one of those drivers that is on the improving scale. It's awesome to see that. Kyle Greaves.
That was exciting.
It seemed like most of his passes were done in that second half. Man, the guy was grabbing traction and going. Watching that finish, you really got to wonder, one more lap, what would have happened?
Yeah, one more lap.
He was showing a fender to the better half of a quarter on Keegan.
Yeah, and
on the finish line, obviously the finish line, he's throwing it in hard, still respectful. They never touched, but he was able to stick that fender halfway up, and he just couldn't get the off traction bite with the line that he was going to make it a drag race.
Yeah, the gap was .836 in that, and his fastest lap was lap 11. He actually had the fast lap out of the field with 124.045. Keegan was 124.333. So obviously that coincides with what you were saying. Kyle was putting a lot of it together at the back end and finding a ton of speed at the back end. Definitely felt like the truck was set up for the second half.
Yeah.
And the track came to the truck setup.
Yeah, and the driver setup.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of traffic. I think the start went poorly, and then it's just cool to watch. When you're watching, a lot of it was the race was, it was a race, and then there's you're watching the guy that's charging through the field. You got to get excited for it.
Yeah, definitely. Flipping to Sunday now. This will kind of coincide with what I was talking about. Keegan Kincaid took first. Second was Jacob Rosales. So not only did he get third, he moves up to second. And then third is Corey Winter. Fourth is Ryan Beat. We'll talk about that finish and how he ends up in fourth. But unfortunately for Kyle Greaves, ends up on the wall on the start. Ends his day early, ends his chances of getting in the Pro 2 for Pro 4 race. Ended the weekend. Just a tough way to see a guy that coming off such a high of the day before to end the race season, or not the season, still a race left.
You don't call it the end of the season yet?
No.
Man.
Not the end of the season. Man, I'm so used to that. Crandon normally is. So, yeah, unfortunately to see his weekend end there up on the wall. Obviously great to see him walk away from it.
Both drivers.
Yeah, both drivers walk away from it. It could have ended a lot differently. So always good to see drivers walk away from something like that in turn one. Turn one, dude, Crandon, especially when you're in the Pro 2, Pro 4, so sketchy. So fun to watch as a spectator, but as a driver, it's got to feel super sketchy.
Yeah, it's fun. Can we grade the level of reenactment that they did of Yoshi and Mario?
I didn't see this, so I don't know.
Oh, the vehicle is on the other vehicle. It's like Yoshi, and when Mario jumps on
Yoshi,
let's go.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't see that correlation.
Oh, okay. I guess you didn't play enough. You didn't play enough Nintendo.
Apparently not. I was out doing things in life.
I guess.
Not really, but I didn't correlate that.
So you want to talk about Ryan Beat?
Yeah, we'll get into that. The only other thing I want to call out, because we actually did get a chance to talk to him at the parade, we saw the return of Brian Deegan. So it's cool to see Deegan out in the field.
I think he came out like fourth or fifth. on the out of the land rush. Like
Yeah.
that was a strong start.
Yeah. Saturday he finished 8th, and then Sunday was 11th. So it was just kind of cool to see, Deegan back out in the field. Cool to get a chance to talk to him and, kind of see where he is in life and his priorities, and seeing him, get the truck out there and throw something down.
I enjoy when I'm going to finger quote this, celebrities show up, and, it draws for the sport. It's fun. We enjoyed talking to them. And then Mad Mike was also there. But I also think it's pretty cool when, the guys that have been sticking it in the season and putting in the hard work still can come out on a pretty good top there. Like, no offense to, I think Deegan had top 5 hopes, or ambitions, not hopes, ambitions. So, and Mad Mike had kind of a different hand in that whole race, but still, it's kind of cool to see, even when the celebrity guys come out, the trick shot guys, we'll call them, but they can still throw down with the regulars.
Yeah, definitely. It is cool to see that. All right, let's get into this topic. Ryan Beat ends up 4th on Sunday.
Here, I got the highlight reel.
Okay.
I got to show you, and I'll clip it into here. You just got to press play.
Oh, boy. Oh, okay.
Oh, was that the wrong video? Oh, scroll over. I think it was the same thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, anyways, so what happens is, coming into that right-hander right before the finish line, Ryan B throws it in, gets into the back end of Keegan Kincaid, who's leading the race, doesn't even really get up to his door, gets right into his back fender, spins Keegan around. Once again, Keegan Kincaid going backwards to the Crandon finish line. Stop me if you've heard this before. This time he doesn't get jumped up on. Ryan Beat does pass him, takes the checkered first. Keegan rolls backwards across the line to take second. After they go up to the booth, the scoring tower, they make the determination that, Beat made contact and they penalize him 2 positions. Ryan Beat drops down to 4th. Keegan gets the win. My personal opinion here, deservingly so. That's one of those situations. At the end of the race, I get you're both going for it. You're giving it all. Fortunately, Ryan Beat makes contact, spins him out. For me, that's clear as day. And they definitely deserve to drop the 2 spots, and Keegan gets the win. I mean, if you're going by, at that point, you're taking out the leader, and the leader pulls inside. Like, if it was more side by side, but it was like in the back of the truck, spins him out. I'm not going to say deliberately, because he was just throwing it in to try to make a pass, but comes in hard, spins him out, like deservingly probably deserved to be penalized.
Yes, I agree with you.
I mean, yeah, I get that they've been racing hard all year and what may or may not happen, but like, given the circumstances and where it was, and just like it clearly changed the result on the last corner, it was hard to argue with it.
Yeah. My take on it is completely with you, but I guess more in depth on it, I'll go. He throws it in like he's going to do a slide job, and in order to complete a slide job, you got to get those front tires to at least the door of the guy in front of you, so you can try to move outwards. Well, you went for front tires or behind the rear tires, or maybe at the rear tires. You made contact, and because your momentum line, because you're coming on the bottom side, the inside, and you're moving outside, and you're still counter steering, and you can see in the video, he's still full, like it looks like a full clock, if not 3/4 to almost full clock. Counter steering, hits the fender, and at that time, you're supposed to straighten out, even though the result of that's going to be you oversteering and brake, so you don't send the guy fully around. Well, you watch the video, he stays full clock, and then more roost comes out of the rear tires, and the second that Keegan is 90 degrees, making a nice T-bone steak visual, then that's when he straightens out his wheels, which would make Keegan not even 90 degrees to him, but complete to a 180. Like if he would have kept it left, then you would have not fully spun him. He would have been stuck 90 degrees. But, and I get it, you're going fast, adrenaline's up, everything's happening, but you guys are professional drivers. We need to hold you guys to that standard. You're Keegan Kincaid as a well-recognized, well-championed driver. Ryan Beat, as he said out of his own words, he's the most funded, well-rounded team, whatever it was, in the sport. Well, we need to hold him to that. Both of them.
Yeah.
And, I think Keegan maybe slowed it up a little bit, but that's called a protection line. I wouldn't have been mad if he would have tapped his quarter, because even when Cheney did it to him, tapped his quarter, he didn't send him all the way around. He backed off enough so that we also made contact with the wall. But it was enough that he actually slapped forward, and then that's when the Pro 4 went into action and turned into a monster truck.
Yeah.
But, I mean, to send it all the way around, I mean, the video, it'll be slowed down. It's down here somewhere. To me, it's just, we can't be having this. And, it's the two highest competitors. It's under a microscope. I understand. It's, scrutiny to the maximum. But at the end of the day, he got sent back, 2 spots? So that put him back in 4th?
Yeah.
Oh, he got sent back 3 spots then.
Well,
because technically the timing, he actually finished on top with timing.
Yeah.
Because transponders are, I believe, like 14 inches from bumper entry. So when you spin them around, they're...
Yeah. So, like I said, that was the call. They made it quick. They made the call, and you look at the video, it's like you said, it's going to be up there. You can make your call, but that's my point of view.
Yeah, and I think Champ's doing a good job with that one. I mean, that one was a pretty quick response, it felt like.
Yeah, I mean, they had to make a decision pretty fast on that one.
Yeah.
Flipping to the Pro 4 class, 11 trucks take the flag here. Saturday, Jimmy Sanderson, as people like to call him, first. Second, Johnny Greaves, Jeepa, and Nicole Mamer. As you will notice, no CJ Greaves. Like we said, he had a tough weekend. He ended up rolled over a couple times.
Yeah, it's I believe in gravel pit, right?
Yep. Just hit a rut and went over.
Yeah, I mean it happens to the best, and it clearly happened to the best. I mean, it's one of those things that it's very odd to see this happening in more than one class. He's going to bounce.
Was that Saturday he rolled there or Sunday? I can't remember. No.
I 2 weeks after
it was one of those days. I think it was Sunday, but I can't remember now.
I believe you might be right. Also, the replays are on racer.com with a subscription, so that's a problem.
Yeah. Our memory might be a little toasted here. But Sunday's results, Jimmy Henderson up on the box again, so swept the weekend. And this one is kind of cool for us, and we'll get into it in the next one. But RJ Anderson second. That was enjoyable to see, the California guy up there. And then Andrew Carlson finishing third. It was going into Pro 4. If you're looking at points and wherever you are, I didn't even look to where I ended because it was a complete curveball.
Oh, you're talking your fantasy.
Yeah. I don't even know where I am right now.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to look that up before the end here. Because you were like...
I was top 20.
Top 20. You were like 14th, I thought.
At one point, I think I might have slipped to 21, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll look it up as we're discussing this. But so obviously that was way different than, what we were used to. It's kind of cool. I mean, throughout the, years. I guess you could kind of say it was like a Johnny Greaves, Jimmy Henderson type battle. And there's obviously fans on both sides. So it was cool for the fans of Jimmy Henderson to get a good weekend where it gets all put together for them. No bad luck, no oversending it and ending up on the wall or over a berm in the lead or whatever else happens throughout the years for him. So it's cool to see him to get up top both days.
I think of this right now. And when you say Jimmy Henderson, I hear there's rumor that Park River, for their big anniversary next year, is bringing back the jump competition off Taco Bell. Man, I guess I got to put his name in that hat of somebody that could definitely win it.
That is going to be gnarly.
If it happens.
I mean,
I don't want to spread rumors, but Park River, if you're listening, the fans have spoken.
I mean, that's going back a few weekends, and we've just seen how bad my mind was fried from Crandon already. Jimmy Henderson threw some big air at Park River. He was landing pretty far down that jump.
Yeah. Well, I think his biggest notable error is at Anago. That's one that he really sent to that. I mean, a guy that's willing to push the engineering limits.
That was pretty cool, though.
Yeah. Maybe the question I need to ask that guy that I've asked others is, who's going to break that world record jump next?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That record jump's pretty big at this point.
Yeah, and he's in a Pro 4, not a Pro 2. But.
Yeah. All right.
Getting off subject here. What's your
16th
rank? 16th still?
Yep.
That feels pretty good.
Yeah, I'm feeling good about that.
We're referencing the Impulse fantasy app.
Yep. Yeah, I've somehow stuck with it all race season, and I'm in 16th.
Yeah, unfortunately, Wheatland, day 2, I woke up, didn't do my picks, and my season was pretty much done there.
Yeah, I mean, you missed something. You might as well just throw it away.
Yeah, but it's still a good fun time. Awesome to see that space getting filled. We've done many of like campfire boards where you know $1 a square type deal, and it's kind of cool to see something put electronically on.
Yeah, that is super cool. It's been fun. I've had fun with it. All right, let's get to the big race of the weekend. Pro 2, Pro 4, for all the marbles. My personal opinion, the best thing that could have happened. The Andersons come out. They're rocking Walker Evans livery, and that was sweet. The
Walker Evans start banner as well.
Yeah.
And he takes the whole shot.
Takes the win, RJ Anderson.
The key there was that I think he had like a top 5 starting position, because that's all based off of the race previous.
Yeah.
CJ, as we just got done talking about, not a great day, had a pretty bad starting position. So CJ was really already against the wind on it. And the one thing that I love seeing when RJ or the Andersons in general come to town is the competition gets elevated. Like when you look at the way these drivers drive, those guys show up and it becomes elevated. And I think that's great. I think it's great for the sport. It's if we could get those guys full time, it'd be great.
Yeah, and obviously people that don't know the backstory, but RJ Anderson's dad worked with Walker Evans for years and years, and so for them as a family to go out there, rocking the Walker Evans scheme and, winning the big race on the weekend was huge. And like, you could see the emotion flowing after the win. And I don't know, as a fan of off-road racing, that was like the best thing that could happen. Seeing, Walker Evans colors win a big race and RJ Anderson getting it was awesome. To round out that, it was RJ Anderson up top, CJ Greaves second, Jimmy Henderson third, the first Pro 2, going back to what I said, who had it all figured out, Jacob Rosales in fifth.
Yeah, and, I don't want to, this is my opinion, that, RJ is kind of like Walker's prodigy. Like he was heavily involved with his age and everything. Like we did an interview with Rodney, and he didn't have a lot of like time in that era when Walker was present, dominating, racing, all that. But RJ was pretty present in all that for his age wise, and he's learned quite a bit of stuff, I would say, from old man Walker, and he is one of the great racers. And like I said, every time he comes to town, he elevates the competition.
Yeah. And for them to throw out, like, one, they were selling Walker Evans merchandise, which was awesome.
And the proceeds were going to, it was going to a good cause. I don't know what the cause was, but it was a good cause.
And then for them to come out for the cup race, and that's the Walker Evans paint scheme, was awesome planning, like, to throw that all down, considering everything, him passing away this year.
Time-wise, yeah.
The time-wise, like, it was perfect. And then for them, it come out and, like, dominate in the fashion he did. Yeah, I mean, he was what? Ended up being almost 2 seconds between him and CJ. CJ started running him down towards the end. But, man, that was just awesome. If you love off-road racing, that was awesome to see.
Yeah, I would liked to see a couple more laps. Let's tighten them up and let's see what happens. But all in all, I think it was a picture ending, a movie ending.
Yeah, the only thing I want to shout out or call out for this race is for the stinking love of all of off-road racing. If you're going to throw a yellow flag in a cup race, you hold the yellow flag for the whole field no matter what. You throw a yellow flag for the Pro 2s, you hold that yellow flag, you hold the Pro 4s to the yellow flag, make them go through the same thing. Because what happened, they threw a yellow flag. Every single Pro 2 had to slow down for the yellow flag. As the Pro 4s are coming towards the yellow flag, they decide to yank the yellow flag out, and they don't have to slow down. Instantly, any gap you created, and the timing's gone. And right then and there I go, Pro 4's winning. No chance. And that's what happened. I mean, granted.
Yeah, you have the timing
Yeah,
up.
Rosales ended up 25 seconds behind.
So where are the other rankings? We didn't have Kyle Graves in there.
Yeah.
Ryan Beat obviously is one.
Bradley Morris was the next Pro 2.
Why was Ryan Beat so far behind?
Ryan Beat was 13th, 3 laps down. But, yeah.
I'll show you a clip here. Why Ryan Beat was so far behind. He had some collision and some damage to his right front there.
Yeah.
It caused him at 3 laps to. He had to basically he didn't complete the last 3 laps on it.
Yeah, unfortunately,
I think he was like
broke.
At 3 laps he was getting. That's when they were having the interaction between Pro 2 and Pro 4. So I think it was already sealed, basically, probably off that whole caution deal.
Yeah.
But if that caution would have been equally distributed, 3 laps, maybe we would have seen that action more on the last lap.
Yeah. I think the timing, obviously tough to tell where it would have ended up, but instantly when you saw that caution, not panning out, you knew instantly Pro 4 was going to take it. They sucked up all that time. Pro 4 not having to slow down. Just one of those things. If you're in a cup race, you throw a yellow flag or whatever, local caution, you have to hold the local caution for the rest of the field. Even if you clear it up, it doesn't matter. Hold it for the rest of the field to keep the timing there. And, unfortunately, they, for whatever reason, decided not to do that. And you want these cup races to be decided on the last lap if possible. And unfortunately, it didn't pan out that way because of that decision. So,
I think a lot of the races get influenced on cautions, and how can we make it better? Besides getting super technology and having like zones where you're only allowed to go, 45 miles an hour or whatever the class may be. I think it's still going to continue to be. Cautions are always that super gray area that.
Well, it would have been really easy. You just keep the caution out there, and everybody abides by the caution.
For that instance.
Yeah, for that scenario,
I think there's a lot of times, and in the regular racing series time races that there's a lot of times that, half the field gets a caution or one guy's try to catch up to the leader on the caution. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's always a tough thing. So, yeah, that kind of rounds out the racing at Crandon. The weekend really ends the racing up in the Midwest for the year. Obviously, we have one West Coast track left, Glen Helen, which we'll be going to end out the pros. The sportsman season ends, and just like that, race season's almost over. It's been a wild ride. The forming of Dirt Sociable this season's been fun. We've obviously grown as a podcast, and I think Crandon was really the first time we've kind of put together our plans fully. We've always talked about let's do this, let's do that. We finally got out there, got interviews. We have a lot of great content with a lot of drivers that we got in, a lot of great top threes, top fives, a lot of good greatest of all time conversations, and hopefully we keep that going through the next race and into next year.
Yeah, I think this obviously is not the end of this season, but I think the off season is going to be even more exciting than the on season that we had.
Yeah,
we're going to be able to dive into the history stuff that we've been really really intrigued on.
And that's honestly like you go back and you watch your first episode and what we want to be as a podcast. That's what drove us to start the podcast is the history. We want to get more of the stories out there. I think, as we've had guests on, we've done a really good job of digging into a lot of those guest histories. A lot of them been tied to off-road racing for a long time or their family. So it's been cool along that. But I agree with you. I think in the off season, we're going to have some more cool history things coming on.
Yeah, we already got it in the books cooking, so hold on tight.
Yep, the chefs are cooking.
Yep. All right, well, until let's do a little video before Glen Helen, wrap up the points, and then we'll talk after Glen Helen, and then we'll start getting into the history stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thanks, everybody.
All right.